getting to the Final Four was a testament of that. So, but Coach Spiller was very instrumental in that. Was very involved in recruiting a lot of guys on that team, and as a result, they got to the Final Four. So I wanted to acknowledge that system that they were in because of the hard work they put in. And I know that this staff here, they treat this like a college program in terms of what they do in practice. And that was one of the big reasons why all of our kids got scholarships, because we had a very good coach who ran their practices like colleges. Yeah. So they didn't just go and just roll out the ball. They went out and they learned. Okay, so you guys got a good group here, but you got to thank your parents. Your parents put in the work. They take you everywhere you need to go, especially when you don't have your driver's license. Somebody's got to take you, right? You can't drive yourself, so your parents is doing it, right? So you got to thank your parents. So you players, give your parents a hand right now. Something here. You can pass this around, and unfortunately, you can just pass these around. I was not part of a team that actually won a Big Ten title or went to the Final Four. The best team that we have is my sophomore year. We went to the tournament. We went to the Sweet 16. Unfortunately, we played a team that was pretty good. On that team, they had 4 first-rounders, I believe. The best player on the team was Michael Jordan.
That minor thing.
Brad Daugherty was on that team. Sam Perkins,
oh my God.
And I can't think of the other guard that was on the team that was really good. No, Kenny Smith was coming in later. They just restocked. But that team was very good. Actually, we led them at halftime. And but they came back and they beat us in the second half, and they went on. They lost to Georgia, actually. They didn't even go to the Final Four. That was the year after they won the national title against Georgia.
Tyrell, pass it around.
But, yeah, pass it around, guys. But during my 17 years as an announcer, those are some of the benefits. I get a chance to get a ring anytime they win a Big Ten championship or go to the Final Four. So
wow.
those are kind of nice. But my message today to you young guys, I always like to tell you a little bit about where I came from so you can understand who I am. Started playing basketball when I was 5 years old. Fell in love with it. Okay. Played my first year of organized sport was the 5th grade. Played 5th and 6th in elementary. Then in middle school was 7th, 8th, and 9th grade when I played. High school didn't start until 10th grade. Then I went on to high school, played 3 years of basketball there. Went on to college, graduated in 4 years, interviewed, got a job, worked in corporate America for 21 years. The last 10 years, I bought my own business 10 years ago. I've had my own business now for 10 years. Okay? So the reason why I tell you guys that is because everything that I just mentioned that I did, all of you guys could do. In fact, you could even do it better. I didn't mention anything about getting a scholarship, did I? I said I went to college. Went to college. So all of you guys can go to college. And if you don't go to college, it's kind of like trying to play basketball with football rules. You cannot compete in life if you're not educated. You can't, right? I've been in business 10 years. And yes, we're successful, but every year it gets tougher and tougher. I have to innovate myself, innovate my company, so I can stay ahead of my competition. So you guys can do all of this, all of it and more if you want to. It's up to you. It's discipline. All right? So let's talk about the things that take you to be where you need to be. Okay? I always share this with folks. You need to have a mentor in your life. Okay? And Coach Spiel touched on this a little bit. In guys basketball, it has changed. This is a monetary thing. I mean, if a kid is good enough to go to the NBA nowadays, and it's tough to get there, there's monetary attachment to that for other people who have some interests that you may not be aware of, secret motives. So here's the best mentor and person that you can find in your life. Someone that's intelligent, someone that's been there, and has no vested interest or won't receive a dime for anything that you give. That person right there will give you the best advice. And I want you to understand what I said there. They're not going to benefit a dime if you're successful. I got a mentor right now. This guy owns a bank, multi-millionaire, right? He doesn't need a penny from me. I can go to him and know that if I ask him a question, he's going to give me the sincere advice that I need. Because there's no hidden agenda, right? So when you're trying to make a decision who you're going to hang around with or what AAU program you're going to stick with down the road, you got to ask yourself that question. Is there a hidden agenda? You got to ask yourself, is there a hidden agenda? Okay. Let's talk about decision making. Unfortunately, this thing right here, get you in a lot of trouble. Okay? My son is on Twitter. My daughters are on Facebook, and I follow. Not because I'm one of those parents that's trying to spy on my kids. I'm their parent, right? I know a little bit more than they do, right? And so the unfortunate thing about Twitter and Facebook is that you can respond to something emotionally within 5 seconds that you don't necessarily think about. But once it goes out in the cyber world, guess where it stays? It stays out there forever. Forever. Right? Coaches, future employers, they look at what you say on Facebook. Before I hire anybody at my company, I check out what they're saying on Facebook. Because I'm going to have that person in my culture, in my building, right? I want to know about them. If I'm a college coach, I don't want to recruit you if you're going to be a troublemaker. Reform, right? Now let's talk about respect. Okay? Before you respect anybody else, guess who you think you should respect first?
Yourself.
Yourself. Don't steal from yourself. Don't stop investing in yourself. Don't lie about yourself. Don't cheat yourself. Right? Don't do that to yourself first, and then you won't do it to others. Okay? Now, you're celebrating a great season, right? 48 wins, only 5 losses? That's pretty good, man. That's pretty darn good. You're celebrating that. And this is a great time. You're in high school, you're only juniors?
Sophomores.
Sophomores. This was a great time in your life. I remember I was going to be a sophomore. It's great. You know, coming off a great summer, you're ready to start school here very soon, if not already. This is a great time. The unfortunate thing is that decisions that you make now will impact you for the rest of your life. You're 16, 17, 18, you don't know it all, right? One mistake can change your life forever, guys. So you have to be conscious of what you do, what you say, who you hang around with. All right? It's important that you understand that one bad decision could affect your life for the rest. So decision making. All right, I did this with all my kids when they came to college. Okay? First thing you got to do, take out a piece of paper, get a pen or pencil, pros and cons, and put them in order of importance. Very top, the good. Why should I go to that school? I don't care what the reason is. Put down the most important all the way down. What I mean, proximity. Can my mom and dad come see me? Okay? Do you want to try to win a championship? Because you go to a team and play right away, the team may not be that good. Right?
Yeah.
Okay? So you got to look at that too. But understand that if you go to a team that has players, you may not play right away. Right? So you got to put down everything that's important to you. How long will that coach be there? Coaches change. Right? All right? Negatives. All the negative things on the right side. And once you do that, it'll talk to you. It will talk to you. You will ultimately make the best decision. So, guys, 50 years old, right? I'm 50 years old right now. Okay, just turned. I still read a book every single year. At least one book. Sometimes I read 3 at a time. I read at least one new one every year because I read other books over and over again. How to Win Friends and Influence People, Dale Carnegie. I read that every year. Same book every year. If you're not reading the book, guys, you're not investing in yourself. Okay? Now, real quick thing about studying. I took a class on how to study. He said, what are you talking about? How to study. Here's a little trick. Let's say you got 3 hours. Okay? Take an hour, study. Then whatever you like to do it for 15 minutes. Once you do that, come back, study for another half an hour. Then go do whatever you like to do for 15 minutes. Come back, right? Study for another hour. You do that, that's how you study. That got me through school. 3-point student at Ohio State. Graduated in 4 years. Very proud of that. Not the fact that I was voted MVP of my team, and scored over 1,000 points and all that jazz. I graduated in 4 years in business marketing. If I can do it, you can do it. That's it. I just started early and I kept doing it. But the key to what you just asked me, you can want it for your kids as more than anything. But until they want it as badly as you want it for them, it don't matter. All my kids, the light bulb comes on at a different time. Every one of my kids. My daughter Sydney, who will be a junior, and this is no lie, the girl has God-given ability, but she has never asked me to take her to work out, ever, until this year. She's never, and trust me, she's never went and practiced on her own unless it was a structured practice until this year. It took 15 and a half years for the light bulb to come on. She's working out now. She drives and works out on her own. She's shooting on her own. I've been telling her to do it ever since age 12. But she finally, they're hearing you. Yes.
What about Ohio State made you want to go there?
Good question. I was a late bloomer, guys. My teammate Troy Taylor got recruited by all the major schools, and he committed in November, going to our senior year. And once that was bad for me actually, because once Troy committed, all the schools that was recruiting him stopped coming because he had committed to Ohio State. So had he not committed, those schools would have been watching him, and guess who else they would have watched? Me. So that kind of hurt me. But ultimately, late in my year, I had some interest from the MAC, Kent State, Akron, Canisius up in Buffalo, but no major schools. I went to an all-star game in Chicago, played very well against some major D1s. Ohio State was there, and some other Big Ten schools, and then they started recruiting me. But at the end of the day, all those things that I talked about earlier, proximity, I wanted my mom and dad to see me play. It was between Ohio State and Purdue. Those were the two schools that I ultimately was deciding between. Purdue was, 4 hours away. The city was not compared to Columbus. It's night and day. So proximity, the chance to play right away. All the point guards had transferred. I had graduated, and I knew I had a chance to play right away, and I knew the team was going to be. But this is a great group. I hear nothing but great things about this organization. And guys, like Coach Spiller talked about, this AAU is a cutthroat business. I mean, you may have a coach that doesn't care anything about you today, but you grow 3-4 inches, you start hitting threes, and next thing you know, they say, hey, come join our program because it's better. But just think about this. If they're replacing somebody with you. So trust me, if they get somebody else better than next year, they can replace that person and get you out of
Just
there.
hope, Matthew.
That's how this thing works. So just think about that when you're contemplating on what you want to do the next 3-4 years.